So, welcome to our live question and answer session. I'm not sure on the number that we've done, but we've done a lot of live question and answers recently with different expert panels, people who have experienced cancer personally, and also from our 5K Away and our MOVE community. And it's been absolutely amazing to do these question and answers, to give us the opportunity to share people's stories, provide some inspiration and provide some motivation for our community. So today I would like to welcome our special guests. So today I've got with me Helen, Sophie and Shaun. So today we are going to be giving you more of an insight into what we do as, what MOVE does as a charity as a whole. So most of you will know of our 5K Away MOVE Against Cancer initiative, but I'm going to give you a little bit of background into the other work we do at MOVE Charity and what we do with our special guests here today. So I guess if I just want to let you guys, rather than me talking for the whole introduction, let you guys introduce yourself. So I think if we start with Helen, that would be great.
Cool. So I'm Helen Murray and I look after the MOVE online programme, which is an 8-week programme which helps young people between 13 and 30 who are affected by cancer. So it might be during their treatment, it might be after their treatment. And for those 8 weeks, we work one-on-one with them online. So that's not just because of COVID, that has been all the time, to help them build up their fitness and their strength. And everyone that we work with is completely different. And that's part of the beauty of it, because then we can tailor the 8 weeks completely to them.
Brill. Good introduction, Helen. And Sophie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I'm Sophie and I worked with Helen in around January, February time to complete the 8-week programme. This was actually after all of my treatment. So I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2015. I had 2.5 years of chemotherapy, but then I relapsed 9 months later and went on to have a stem cell transplant. And that was the bit that really hit my body hard. So that was why I was so keen to get involved with MOVE, to help me sort of like rebuild my strength and deal with some of the issues that the treatments left me with, sort of joint issues and things like that. So yeah, it was really good.
Brilliant. Yeah, and we're going to go into more detail, Sophie, about your story as we go into the question and answer and talk about that journey and the work that you've done with Helen as well. So we'll move into that and go into more detail. So Shaun, do you want to give us an introduction from your side?
Hi, I'm Shaun. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in May 2019, and then the lovely Helen approached me in August 2019 and said, do you want to join the MOVE online programme? And since then I haven't looked back. Completed the programme around the end of October, and then since then I've been fortunate to join the MOVE crew, so I'm part of the MOVE crew now. So that's me.
Brilliant. Yeah, and we'll go more into what that is, and I think I might be coming out of someone's computer. We'll go more into that MOVE crew and how we, developed a crew around the Vitality 10K that then got cancelled, but how the amazing connections you guys had as a team moving forward, and that's something that we want to develop as a charity. So I just want to give you a bit of background. So most of you will know that I founded MOVE Charity at the age of 24 when I was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 24, and then a few years later I founded MOVE Charity. But we were just discussing before we came online that the idea of it came to me when I was going through chemotherapy in hospital. So sat basically an inpatient in hospital on a hospital bed. And what I found was that I wasn't given the right information or support or encouragement around exercise when living with and beyond cancer. So going through my treatment, but also afterwards. But what I learned from my journey was how powerful it was, but both physically and also mentally. And what I decided that when I finished my treatment, initially I did want to walk away from cancer. So I went back to my job at Nike in marketing, and I didn't want it to be any part of my life, because I thought that, I didn't want to be defined by it, and I'm ready to move on to the next chapter. However, I think anybody who's experienced cancer knows that it gave me an incredible perspective on life now. And I realized that really I only had one life to live, and you only get one chance at this. But what it did give me was it gave me the need and the want to help other people to get the support that I didn't get. So physical activity and exercise, especially for me, for example, running, has played a huge role in my life, both during my treatment, but also in my recovery. So for me, it's like my therapy, not just physically, but also mentally. And I just wanted to make sure that other people, other young people and other people got the experience, got the opportunity to be provided with that support. And I think that what myself and Helen were talking about with Sophie and Shaun was it's actually so amazing to have both of you on this question and answer, because it does make me a little bit emotional, actually, yeah. Because but a vision that I had sat in a hospital bed when I was extremely poorly, to now see that coming to life from no experience in the charity world. I just had a vision and a fire and a real big why to want to help people. And to make that happen and to see you guys have been through the program and how much it's helped you, yeah, it's incredible. Like, it's absolutely incredible to have you on. So thank you so much for giving your time up to do this. It does, yeah, make me very proud of to be able to support you guys, but also the experiences that you get to then go on and help other young people as well. So anyway, enough chat from me on that. So what we want to do is, what I just want to tell you about is that most of you will know, so we've got our MOVE online cancer rehab program that supports children and young people living with and beyond cancer. We've got our 5K Away Move Against Cancer initiative. So most of you will, a lot of you who are on here will know what that is, but it's a support group with a difference. It's in structured support in terms of physical activity, movement, and we are linked to Park Run on the last Saturday of every month. And currently our groups are on hold, but that's an initiative that anybody, any age, any ability, anybody affected by cancer, family and friends can get involved in. So you're going to find out more about the MOVE program today and what that looks like and what that is and people's experience of that, which is amazing. And then our third area of work is all about education. So education around the benefits of cancer and exercise to people who are living with cancer, who are living with and beyond cancer, but also health professionals, family and friends. So we do conferences and workshops. We do these sorts of sessions to help educate and inspire, to storytell, like people's stories are so powerful. So they are the three areas work we do as a whole of as a charity. So just so everyone's clear. So let's get started. So Helen, what we wanted to talk to you about is, what is the MOVE? Well, basically a bit about your background first, actually. So how did you get involved in MOVE? So you had a long career at the BBC. Yep. We are very lucky to have your expertise on our digital case studies, as well as your amazing work that you do as part of this program. But give us a little insight into your background and why you got involved in MOVE and what you do now.
Yep. So when I was at school, I loved languages and I loved radio, and all I wanted to go and do really was journalism. But I did like languages, and someone said, no, you should go and do languages at university, and then if you still want to do journalism, go and specialize in that. So that was what I had my my heart set on, and I really wanted to work for Radio 5 Live and BBC Sport, and I did manage to achieve all of that, and I spent over a decade doing that, mainly in production. But I think when I finally got to the point of having that I guess dream job at 5 Live and with Radio Sport, I don't know, suddenly those goals sort of disappear, and I started bit by bit thinking, I don't want to be here at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I don't want alarms at 4 o'clock in the morning. I want to actually do something which helps other people. At around the same time, my mum was diagnosed with melanoma, and I don't know if that has influenced things slightly. I'm not sure. When I did my A-levels, for example, I volunteered at my local hospice, but that was way before my mum's diagnosis. So I think I've always just had that interest. So yeah, it was like the fitness industry that then appealed as a career change, but I thought, I'm not going to be working in a gym. That is just, it's not me. And I was watching a documentary actually from Australia about the power of exercise. And I think it was at a particular hospital, and people going through treatment either had to go and do this exercise program before or straight after their treatment. And I was like, yes, that is how I can use that fitness, all my fitness qualifications, but actually help other people at the same time. So did all my PT stuff, and then I went and did the CAN rehab course while I was still at the BBC, and then eventually, got the guts to actually jump ship totally. You and I had a chat, and I think I knew that I was going to be doing 2 days a week. So it was quite a jump.
Yeah, and I'm so glad. I can't say how glad I am that we actually met, because it's been an incredible journey since you started, hasn't it? So yeah.
It's been amazing. So yeah, I started with MOVE in, I want to say, November of 2018.
It's been that's crazy how quick that's gone as well.
I know.
Isn't it? Yeah. And we grow, like, we are, you know, Helen knows we're a very small team, and we work really hard, and we work together, and we evolve, and we change, and we develop. But one thing we're incredibly proud of, like when Helen started, so from 2018, we were doing the online program. So our online work, a lot of people are moving into that because of the current situation. We haven't had to change because we've done that for so long, which is something I'm quite proud of, actually, that we're ahead of the game on that. Yeah, which is awesome. So Helen, do you just want to tell us what the online program is, and so from an instructor perspective, but how people do get involved and what it looks like? Yeah.
So I often say to people, so people can either be self-referred if they've finished treatment, or they can be referred by their medical team. The referral forms come through, and then we make initial contact with them. I say we, that's pretty much me. So I'll make initial contact, I'll have a chat with them, I'll find out exactly their experience, what they can do, what they can't do, any limitations. And then effectively, I say it's a bit like having a personal trainer for 8 weeks, and that's me, and it's online. And then in terms of actual delivery of the program, I'll send an email every week with a particular program for that person, so it's very completely specific to them, taking on board everything from those initial forms and their referral. And then I'll set them the program. It will be a mixture of cardio and strength work, but usually everything can be done at home. But again, it depends on the person, and say pre-COVID times, if they were already a member of a gym, I could help them with a program there. Or for other people, it really would be, chair-based exercises, everything at home, so completely individual. And then we'll have a catch-up every single week for 8 weeks, and I'll tweak the program. We'll progress it gradually over the 2 months, and then we do feedback at the end and a little bit of extra support for a few more weeks. But then hopefully by that point, the people that we are supporting have got the tools that they need to then be able to continue setting themselves goals, staying motivated, and continuing to be active in their everyday life. Yeah, and that's brilliant to have that insight. And I think we're going to go over to Sophie and Shaun in a minute to make sure that we're doing that. So guys, you can be as open and honest as you want. But what I think as well, what is important to let people know is that I was so passionate that we supported people on an individual basis. And I think Shaun and Sophie will be able to probably talk about this in terms of their situation, their experience. But I wanted to make sure that, and Helen as well, that the program was designed on someone's individual diagnosis, but their individual current health status, their own goals and their own needs. Because you may have the same cancer diagnosis as somebody, but your experience, your treatment, the way you live your life is extremely different to the next person. And people might be a different age to you, different, come from different backgrounds, have different abilities. And it's really important to get that mentorship and guidance, not just something based on some general, general kind of prescription or exercise plan. So I think that was, that's what we try and do as a charity. So let's come to Shaun and Sophie. So
Let's start with Sophie, actually. So what we wanted to do is give people an insight into your background, your diagnosis, and then how you actually got involved in MOVE. And maybe during it, me and my Helen might ask you a few questions as well while you're going through that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, so I was diagnosed back in 2015. I was in uni at the time, just coming to the end of my first year. I was only 19. And yeah, I'd just been feeling pretty unwell for a couple of weeks, sort of chest infection symptoms, and that's what made me go to my GP. So everything sort of happened really quickly. With my diagnosis, sort of went to the GP on the Tuesday, and on the Wednesday got the diagnosis. And before this, I was always like really fit. I played volleyball in school, netball in school, loved running and things like that. So I've always led an outdoorsy, active life. So then when I was diagnosed, you kind of don't think about any of that. Like your first thought is just need to get better, need to carry on. So I kind of went into like this like robotic state where I was just like, don't show emotion, like don't let it break you, just carry on, carry on, carry on. So they said with my particular type of leukemia, it was acute lymphoblastic leukemia, so ALL for short. They said that I would be best treated because of my age on a pediatric protocol. So that was 2.5 years long. So it's kind of 12 months of really, really intensive chemotherapy, and then 18 months of like oral chemotherapy. So yeah, 2.5 years in total. It was a long time. And then after that, like when I completed that, I actually didn't have that many issues. Like despite my body had been through like all these awful things, like I wasn't actually that unfit. So I got myself a gym membership and started going to the gym. But 9 months after completing all that chemotherapy, I relapsed. So I was told that I'd need the stem cell transplant. And they kind of like sat me down and they said, like, if you thought the chemotherapy was tough last time, you need to really prepare yourself for this, because this is going to absolutely just change your body in so many ways. You'll probably lose weight, and you know, it is a really, really tough thing to go through. So I had that in October 2018. Yeah, so it's kind of like a week before the transplant, you have like really intense chemotherapy, higher than any dose I'd ever had in the past, and then total body irradiation as well. So you are literally just like stripped bare of anything. And that week, like, oh, I was so sick, and they ended up like putting a feeding tube in because I just wasn't eating at all. And like you have like fluid retention. So although I looked my normal size, I was actually losing weight. It was just the fluid that was making me look normal. So when that fluid finally went, I actually dropped down from about 8 stone to 6 stone. I was like really, really slim. And then I was in hospital when I had the transplant for 7 weeks. And just that alone, like, it's surprising how much muscle wastage like I actually had. So because I'd been going to the gym like before I relapsed and everything, like I actually had built up quite a lot of muscle. So like to just lose all that, you kind of just think, why did I do, you know? It's kind of like I went through all that hard work, and then now I'm just left with nothing. I'm basically just like skin and bone. So that was kind of the point where I thought, like, how am I ever gonna get fit again and like build myself up again? So yeah, the recovery, it took about 12 months after the transplant to even start feeling like relatively like human again. So although I was at home for most of that, I still wasn't well. And, you know, I was at the hospital 2-3 times a week just for checkups and things. So come the 12-month mark, and like Christmas 2019, I was kind of like, okay, I'm getting somewhere here. Like, you know, I'm starting to feel a bit more myself. So I want to start exercising again. So I got in touch with my Click Sergeant social worker, and I just said that Click Sergeant was one of the charities that like supported me throughout my journey. And I just said, I want to, you know, my history, you know, I was very fit. How can I go about getting like some sort of guidance? Because the hospital didn't provide me with any sort of like physiotherapy or, you know, any sort of guidance of what I can do, what I can't do, like, you know, things like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, Sophie. So, because you seem to come up with the idea that yourself, that you wanted the support to get yourself back active. So had anybody had a conversation with you in terms of from a healthcare professional perspective before that? Or was it coming strictly from your personal experience from before, the fact you wanted to get back to be fitter again?
It was all personal, really. I was quite shocked that like nothing was offered to me, considering my age. Like, I thought that they'd want to focus on the younger patients and make sure that their quality of life and their fitness wasn't impacted too much. Because obviously, I'm sure you know yourself, like, although treatment stopped, there's many like sort of long-term issues that, you know, your body can have as a result of the treatment, whether it be chemotherapy, radiotherapy, you know, surgery, that it still has a long-term impact. So that's one of the things that I suffer with as a long-term issue. I was diagnosed with avascular necrosis in my hips, my left shoulder and my left elbow. And the cause of that was all of the steroid treatments that I'd had like over the years. That the particular steroid that was used to fight the leukemia is sort of renowned for causing bone problems. And avascular necrosis is essentially just crumbling of the joints and the bones. So the joint no longer gets blood supply. So it essentially just collapses. There's no treatment for it, so I'm awaiting joint replacement surgery. That's kind of like going to be the only direction that I can go in really with that.
And that at your age as well, like, it's so much like the fact that you've been through all that intense treatment, and like that, you know, to even begin to think about handling that is just insane. Like, you can't really get your head around it, and you sit here talking to you now and, you know, you look well and healthy, and that's what people say, don't they? But it's like what you've been through inside, like, it's just, yeah. And not being able, you know, like you say, not getting the support to increase your quality of life, and moving from that, you know, from being in hospital, from muscle wasted to actually being a young person again is extremely important, isn't it? But not just for physical, like mentally as well.
Yeah, I think mentally, like, it can either make you or break you. And it is, you know, you can't be positive 100% of the time. It's just impossible. We wouldn't be human if we didn't have like little cries here and there. And like, I was just so lucky that I had the support from like family and friends, and, you know, they've stuck by me. It's been a really long journey, but they've stuck by me every step of the way. And I think when I did start saying, you know, I want to get fit again, I want to do this, they were like, go for it. Don't hang around waiting for sort of your medical team to recognize it as an issue. Put yourself out there, reach out for help. So I actually referred myself before getting in touch with MOVE. I actually kind of like referred myself for physio. I went to one of my clinic appointments and I was like, I need some physiotherapy. I can't move my joints at all. You know, trying to get in and out of the car, trying to get in and out of the bath, like everyday things. I said, I'm 24 years old. I shouldn't have these issues. I need some sort of help. Otherwise, I'm going to end up on crutches or in a wheelchair. Or so I need help. So that's when my medical team kind of recognized, okay, we need to give her some physical support as well as like mental support. So I went to physio for a couple of months. It did little bits, like, obviously, as I said, there's no treatment for this condition except joint replacement. So I couldn't really get much more movement than I already have. But when I've met with the orthopedic surgeons, they have said to me, the more muscle you have around these joints, the better the surgery is going to be, the better your recovery is going to be. So try and build up as much muscle as you can, get yourself in a really strong sort of physical state so that you're prepared for the surgery. And that's when I kind of said, oh, like to my click sergeant social worker, is there anything you know of where I could get that support? And she pointed me in the direction of MOVE.
Brilliant.
So that's like where I started with Helen. I explained my history, I explained about the vascular necrosis, what I'm suffering with now. And yeah, she was just amazing. So we really did place emphasis on the things that like I could do rather than things that I wouldn't be able to. So we kind of started with like things like a squatting from a sitting position, because I wouldn't be able to squat on my own because that might hurt me or damage my hips further. Yeah, so a lot of it was like, how can we use things to support me and things like that. And I just said I love walking because that's one of the things that I can do, which isn't a lot of pressure on the hips. Running would just be a no-no. It's just too much pounding onto the joints and things. So walking I really love, and we focused on that for my cardio. And then we just kind of built up week by week, and I could say to Helen quite freely, oh, this isn't working, can we change it to something like this? And she was so accommodating of my problems and my issues, and we overcome them. And now I'm playing badminton in the garden. I could never have done
That's
that
amazing.
before, because like I'm just so much like fitter now and things like that. So I really have like improved so much, and hopefully that in the long run will set me in good stead for when I do actually have the surgeries and things. So yeah, I'm in a really good place now, and that's all thanks to you guys. So yeah. That's
amazing, and thank you for sharing that, Sophie, because that's that's very personal, and you've been through one hell of a journey, and it's so nice to hear, like, even seeing you smile when you're saying about playing badminton in the garden. And I bet when you have necrosis, it's like you don't think that would be possible, and actually to be able to do that. And what I find amazing about you as well is like you've taken the first steps yourself, and you actually are, from what you're talking as well, you're educating yourself around what you need to do to increase your quality of life. And I think that's amazing. And I think, like Helen will say, like, we want, through the program, we're trying to give you the tools to be able to operate without us as well. Like we want long-term behavior change and long-term effects from what you've done with us. So hopefully that's really helped, I think. Yeah,
it has. That's exactly how I described it to Helen when we kind of finished the program. I said, you've given me a toolbox, and now I can kind of like go on and build on it, increase the reps, as I'm getting stronger and things like that. So I did, and I've got such a variety of exercises which I never thought I'd be able to do, and it kind of opened my eyes to okay, I'm restricted, but there is a hell of a lot of things that I actually can do as well, so let's focus on them. So yeah, I'm really happy with everything.
That's amazing.
I was just going to say, I remember the comment about the resistance bands, and you said something like, I never knew you could do so much with them.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't. Like, there's a few little basic things when you first get a resistance band and you like Google it, and it's like, oh, you can do this. And Helen was sending me these exercises, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many things I can do with a resistance band.
And you can take them anywhere as well, which is amazing.
Yeah, that is the beauty of it. Yeah, that you can just, I mean, I love working out in the garden as well. So it's nice when the weather's good to be able to do things like that outside. You're not just restricted to inside as well. So that's great.
Fingers crossed the weather gets better. Yeah. I know, we've been so lucky, haven't we? And so, Sophie, I'm going to come back to some questions after we spoke to Shaun. So I've got some questions about your experience on the programme, but let's go to Shaun. And Shaun, if you can, similar to Sophie, explain your background, your experience, and how you got involved in the MOVE programme.
So I'm a sports coach, and I was struggling with fatigue and things like that, and going to the gym 5 days a week, half marathon runner, ex-county runner, and I'm thinking I'm getting out of breath for no reason. So then I went to the doctors, etc., found a lump in my neck, had a biopsy, and then I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2nd of May 2019. And yeah, the day after I got diagnosed, seeing a consultant, and he was just like, right, you stop everything now, you sit down, and then you're going to lose loads of weight, so don't do any exercise, just rest everything, so prepare your body for the chemotherapy. And I thought, okay, well, you're the doctor, I'll listen to what you've got to say. So I just sat down and was just a couch potato, watched the whole Cricket World Cup last year, didn't get out of my seat, and then I was just going through the chemotherapy, and my nurse was like, right, we need to get you moving, we need to get you doing something, I'm going to refer you to MOVE, have you heard about it? I was like, no. It's like, right, refer me, yeah, I'll do anything. So I got referred, and then a few weeks later I got a phone call from Helen, and that was amazing. So she got to know about my background, how competitive I am. So I put on 2.5 stone through treatment, because my doctors told me to eat loads because you'll lose weight, but I put it on instead of lost it. So that was a bit of a shock to me. And yeah, I was just like, right, so Helen got in contact, and we started the program from there. And I just appreciate how personal it is. Like you're saying at the start, Helen, it's like having your own personal trainer. But without MOVE, without Helen, then I would have got back into it, maybe had an injury or not knowing what to do, having the basic steps. And then, like Sophie was saying, I don't realize how much I can do with my body. I'm like, wow, yeah, I can do that. And I think like even like incorporating like yoga and things as a male, I'm like, yoga, nah. But doing that, it's like benefit. I kept saying to Helen, no, I'm not doing that. But yeah, I was doing that. So that helped quite a bit. And now I'm just flexible, agile, and raring to go. Yeah, but the training program was great. And if I had any questions or any injuries, it was always, I'm not a medical profession, but, and then the advice was always expertise. It was always great. So yeah, so I'm really thankful for that. So.
That's amazing. And I actually remember, so last year I went to the Teenage Cancer Trust Find Your Sensitive Tumour Conference, and I did a workshop from MOVE charity point of view on cancer and exercise. I remember 3 guys coming up to me, Shaun included, at the end of it going, Gemma, Helen Murray is amazing. And it was the proudest moment, because I was just surrounded by you 3 telling me how amazing Helen was, which was so nice. And like, I think, you know, like Helen, like you said, Helen's the yoga queen, so there's no doubt that she would get you involved in yoga, which is amazing. But Shaun, I just wanted to ask you, so when you were diagnosed and you then got referred to MOVE, were you going through your treatment when the nurse referred you? Was it during your treatments?
Yeah, so I was outpatient, so I always used to come back from my chemo edit like 5 days in a row, got sent home, which was dreadful, but anyway, got sent home, come back, and then I was just sitting there doing nothing, because Teenage Cancer Trust unit's amazing, they've got really good rooms. I'm just sat there, and there's all these things I could be doing, but there's like table tennis table, things like that and all that, and I just, because I was told to sit down, I was just there. So I was just looking bored, just sat in it for 8 hours of the day, and then she was like, right, we need to get you up. So and then that's when she approached me, have you heard of MOVE? I was like, no. And then it was like, this will be perfect for you. So, and I was just like, right, let's go, let's do it.
That's amazing. And I think, you know, that does highlight, you've both been, like Sophie, you technically had to self-refer yourself right at the end of that journey. And it is dependent on healthcare professionals and people within the hospital environment that you experience actually put in these like ideas and programs in your head to say, actually, why don't you try this and see what happens? And like both of you said, having exercise in this program as part of your life has been a game changer, really, in terms of your health and well-being moving forward now. And if you hadn't have had that, like where you might think you might be as well.
Yeah, so well, right now, if it like wasn't for MOVE, it's like something I'm hanging on to. So I'm just like still part of MOVE, still follow the program, still look at some of Helen's videos and stuff like that, just to keep me going and stay motivated. And yeah, it's just really helped me right now with not just the physical side, but definitely the mental side as well. So
yeah, and so Shaun, you're part of our MOVE crew, which we created for the Vitality 10K. So it was a new idea that we had about instead of using the places that we had as a charity for fundraising, we wanted to bring a group of young people who had been affected by cancer together and basically support you guys if you were interested in run the Vitality 10K. So we had 5 of you on that. And obviously with the current situation that got cancelled, but do you want to tell us a little bit about that group of people, because I know like how close and supportive you guys are now, and how that worked and how that felt to be part of something like that as well?
Yeah, it was great. So it was like an application process. So I get to tell a bit about yourself, and it was great to be chosen. So you've looked at what we had to say, and then you chose us as a team. Yeah, it was building up to a 10k, Vitality 10k in London, but obviously due to circumstances that got cancelled. So instead of just scrapping it and going, we'll postpone it like all the other races, was like, no, let's do it virtually, which was a brilliant idea. So we've been training, sending our videos, sending our times over a WhatsApp group, keeping us motivated and things like that. So we're all over different parts of the country. I don't want to say where they're from, but miles away. So we're all connected through WhatsApp and videos, etc. And then it was on a Sunday in April time. Can't really remember, Helen.
No, it's all blurred.
So we did a Vitality, well, our own little virtual 5k due to the government rules and things, and that was amazing. So we all did a little warm up. Helen was on Zoom, did a 10-minute warm up, and then we went off and did our 5k, and then posted our time. And then we're still talking now, still running, we've got ideas to meet up after this is finished and carry on doing and running and doing what you do best. So
Shaun, how have you found having like that group? So imagine that Gemma or I or anyone from MOVE, imagine we weren't in that group. What difference does having young people similar to you who have been through cancer as well, like has that been helpful, having them with you along the way?
Yeah, definitely. So it's like you're saying, anyone that's had cancer, they always say that we get it. So like we're one. So you don't have to explain that next bit. It's just like, right, you understand. So you're already the starting block. So yeah, but having been through diagnosis together and things like that, and different diagnosis, it all brings us into one. And then we've been able to accomplish what we've managed to achieve, and we've praised each other for that. And yeah, I praise you for that as well. So
Shaun, for you, what's your life like now in terms of physical activity and exercise? Have you, and especially in the current situation, because I know you've been doing the running obviously, but how does that look, and what do you think you learned from the MOVE program that you take into your life now?
So from the MOVE program, before the MOVE program, it was always the gym, running, outside, everything. I was never thought, oh, you can do it at home. I was like, I'll never do it at home. So, but now I do more workouts at home. Even when before lockdown, the gym, I'm doing more workouts because I know more through the program, and you can actually do it at home. And I thought that's impossible, but now I'm just like, yeah, you can do much more at home than what you can do at the gym, really. Yeah.
So it set you up for the lockdown situation, really, as well.
Yeah, set me up for the long run. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. And what? So I'm going to ask you both actually. What's your favourite part of the program? So being involved with the MOVE online program, what's been your favourite part? Like it can be physical, mental, or just working with the yoga guru Helen.
Oh, by the way, I was not a yoga guru.
I know.
The lockdown thing. Yoga was not my thing, but it has become my thing during lockdown. Yeah.
How many days streak are you on, Helen?
62, Monday to Friday.
So this is for some of our audience who might not know. Helen's been on a yoga streak. I joined in one, committed to one time, and then that was it. But you've been doing it with a group of people, haven't you?
Yeah, a group of little group, 6:45 lockdown yoga club. It's Monday to Friday.
Amazing, that dedication.
So yeah.
Fab. So guys, let's go Sophie. What's your favourite part of the MOVE online program?
I loved the phone calls every week for Helen.
Oh.
Like honestly, I think I said this before we went live, but like we used to you'd expect a 10-minute phone call, and always ends up being on the phone for like half an hour, because like you get to know each other as people and your history, and like what you've got to look forward to in the future. And I was telling her about this is how I've incorporated MOVE into my week. I've been for a walk here, or I've done this activity. And yeah, it was just lovely to catch up and sort of say this is what I've done this week. And I loved it as well that it wasn't just solely exercise based. So any recipes that I wanted, like, because I love like nuts and things, but I didn't really know like what else I could do except just eat plain nuts like you would a packet of crisps. But yeah, Helen gave me some like great recipes, some muesli recipes and things like that. So she's really like knowledgeable. So yeah, I like looked forward to it because I was thinking if I don't know something, I'll ask Helen when I speak to her. So I really like looked forward to that little catch up. And I suppose as well, it's like nice to reflect on the week as well. Like, you know, it makes you feel good about yourself when Helen was asking me, so what have you done this week? And it is a sense of achievement, like, well, actually I did this and I managed to get like my reps up and I managed to do this. So it gave me like a real sense of achievement, those phone calls every week when she was checking in. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I think what you were saying around like nutrition as well, and I think that people, I had huge issues around nutrition. Like I think I spent most of my treatment drinking Dr. Pepper and eating massive bags of chili hot Doritos because of the mouth, the taste, the chemo mouth. And people think that people don't really understand that side of things, but those habits, I remember doing it for like 8-9 months, those habits were really hard to get out of. So it used to, you know, you couldn't really necessarily eat fresh food or salads because of neutrophil accounts. So it's really interesting how it's not just, it's physical, mental, but also the nutrition, and nutrition influence how you feel and, you know, mental side as well. So it all ties into one. And I think, like you were saying, so it's just more than just moving, isn't it? It's the whole holistic kind of approach of kind of having that mentorship as well as that friendship, as well as the program and then nutrition, and bringing it all into one. Which is, yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, it's really lovely to hear your individual experiences and how different they are as well, which is great. So Shaun, how about you?
Yeah, so following on from Sophie, more or less what she said there, but I really enjoyed the personal touch. So I've been through like personal training at the gym before and things like that. It's just one program to follow, but adding them extra reps or adding them things in, Helen was like, right, we can do that. So it's just having that personal touch, and then also having someone there to go, right, I've done 5 reps this week. So if you said that to your mates that have not been through any treatment, they're like, 5 reps, that's easy. But because I've been through what they've been through, and then Helen understands, she's like, that is an amazing achievement. And looking back at it now, and yeah, it really was. So yeah, just having that personal touch and having someone to go forward to say, yeah, I've managed to achieve that this week. Yeah, it's really good. So
that's amazing. And Helen, what's your favourite part of delivering the MOVE programme?
Probably either every week during the conversations when someone, like for example, someone today, week 1, I think they've done 3 days and they had not previously done much activity or exercise at all. So I think this week, I think I would have said, okay, go for a 20-minute walk. And then we have put together like a 10-minute strength workout video. So so the person's done that, and a short cardio workout that we've put together, and this 20-minute walk, and just simple comment along the lines of, I feel amazing. It's that kind of thing. And then at the end, if the feedback is you know that you've made a difference, and I think that is incredible. But also it's lots of people hate the word inspiration, but I do find it, pretty bonkers, pretty epic, pretty insane. Like I can learn so much from the young people in terms of strength, mental strength, character, so much more, and it's just so rewarding.
Yeah, and I think like even just listening to you guys, your resilience is just incredible. Like it is like how many times you get knocked down, but you just keep getting up, and you just want to do better for yourself. And that's such a powerful thing to have. And I think having cancer, you know, it's an horrendous thing to have, but it can also teach us a lot about ourselves and the people around you. And actually sometimes, you know, you learn a lot more about yourself than you ever have done, and nobody would go back and have it again or experience it. But you've got to kind of, like you said, Sophie, focus on what you can do and make the most of what you are doing right now, and focus on that present, and help yourself as well with the right support. So yeah, no, very, very powerful stories that to listen to you guys. So I think I am going to make sure we keep it under an hour because we could talk to you guys for ages, but I've been known for chatting on way too long. But I'd definitely love to do this again another time soon as well. But I just wanted to ask you guys. So I think there's a lot of people who are reluctant to take that first step. And, you know, and just before actually I go on to that, I think most people that are watching, we only do this program for children and young people, so up to 13 to the age of 30. And, you know, if we had more money and we're a bigger charity, I really think this needs to be done for every single person diagnosed with cancer, systemically across the whole of the cancer care and cancer services. Like, I don't see why this isn't being pushed even more across all of the hospitals in terms of a whole system approach. And it is in some, but then it's dependent on, like Sophie, like where you live and who you get that advice from, and if they're interested in exercise as a healthcare professional. So there's still so much work to do that we're trying to push forward for, because I think everybody should have the opportunity to access and advice like this or support. That's my 2 pennies for that bit. But what I wanted to ask you guys is, if other young people were watching this, or if other people were watching this and thinking, you know, they're going through cancer treatment, they might finish their treatment and were really, you know, cautious about starting exercise, what would you tell them about getting involved, either to start just walking or exercising, or in a support program like this? Like, what would you tell them about it in terms of why to get involved?
I'd say just kind of like, if you want the best advice without it being too medical, so yeah, you could go to a physiotherapist, you could go to someone more medical, but if you want the correct advice, like, you know, really good, like up-to-date exercises and things like that, then do a program like this, because you know that, you know, they're not going to push you too hard. You understand what you've been through and things like that. So that's why I loved working with Helen, because she understood that there was boundaries that I had that, say, a normal young person my age wouldn't have. So I'd say find something like this where it is targeted advice, you know, it's very personal, because I think what you could do is go to the gym, which I kind of did when I first joined the gym, like ages ago. When I first finished my first lot of treatment, I scared myself because I was trying to keep up with other people, like other young girls, you know, and they've got like big weights doing like these squats and things, and I kind of scared myself out of exercise almost, because I was like, oh, why can't I do that? And then I had to take a step back and think, well, my body's been through stuff that their body hasn't. And so I'd say for young people who maybe have finished their treatment, definitely look at doing something like the MOVE program, because it's, you know, you're within your limits, you know, you're not going to do anything silly, you're not going to end up hurting yourself, you know, it's the correct advice to what you should be doing for your body. Yeah.
And did you find as well, just sorry, I'm just going off a little bit, but did you find that having the plan was really important? So you just worked towards the days that you were set things, rather than overthinking things yourself, like having to kind of think about what exercises to do? You just stuck to the plan, which gave you some headspace to then just be able to relax any other time that you weren't doing the program.
Yeah, it's like routine, isn't it? So like, obviously I'm not back in work at the moment or anything, and I wasn't when I was doing the program, so it was kind of nice to actually have a bit of structure to my week, rather than just thinking, like getting up in the morning thinking, oh, what should I do today? Should I go for a walk or whatever? I actually had like a program to stick to. So that really benefited me in like getting into a routine and things like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it's like, yeah, because we have it through my running and like that kind of thing, and it's a purpose, isn't it? You know that what you're going to do on that day, you tick it off, and then you can relax after that, which is a really nice for that headspace as well. So brilliant. Sure.
Can I ask Sophie a quick question? I was just wondering, Sophie, in terms of the like how you actually felt, can you remember physically how you felt at the beginning of the MOVE program, and what difference did it make to you by the end of those 2 months? How did you, like, almost like, can you explain the power of exercise and activity for someone else who might be watching this?
I noticed my energy levels were like so much better after the 8 weeks. Like at the beginning, I was still struggling with fatigue, and I think that is a long-term issue. I think Shaun, you mentioned about fatigue as well. It is like one of those issues that I think nearly every cancer patient has faced. So actually getting up and moving and doing something, it does give you much more energy, and you sleep better at night as well. I found anyway, because I'd sort of been busy in the day and doing my exercises or going for a walk and things like that. I just slept better as well. So I think on the whole, like if you are sort of someone who is still struggling with like, late effects like fatigue and things, this would be the perfect thing to try and combat that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, and Shaun, let's go on to you. So what advice would you give to somebody else who's in a similar situation?
Before I give my answer, can I just go on to say what Sophie just said there? It really helped me with the brain fog as well. So loads of people go from brain fog. So like you said with the headspace and stuff, just sitting down and just forgetting things, but doing exercise, it clears your mind, and then you start remembering things. So just wanted to say the brain fog there. But yeah, I'll just say anyone sitting home right now thinking, shall I go for it? Definitely go for it. You've got nothing to lose. You've been through what you've been through, or you're going through what you're going through. And like I said, it's so personal to you. You can adapt it to however you want, and you can do it wherever you want. And you're like physiotherapy. It's all the appointments, having to go back to hospital. You might not want that. So it's better to then you might have you have it at home. So it's your personal touch. So instead of keep going back and forth to hospital to physiotherapy or going to the gym and things like that, it's all you. It's on your terms. You can do it whenever you like. You can say, right, I'm only doing it for once a week this week. It's totally up to you. And yeah, so just go for it.
Amazing. And let's just ask you as well what we asked Sophie around how you felt before you took part in this, and then now the difference in terms of that feel, whether it be the fatigue or that side of things.
So before I was diagnosed, I was on cloud 9, going through everything. Then when diagnosis, having told to sit down, hit rock bottom, fatigue was really bad. Slept probably 2 hours a night, watching Tenable at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, just horrendous. And then when MOVE came along, Helen came along, started to gradually build back that, started feeling myself a little bit and starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, really. So I couldn't see any way past it. And I was at a hospital having chemotherapy, I just couldn't see anything. And then when you came on board, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I was feeling a lot better. And I managed to get a good 7 or 8 hours sleep, and I just feel great. And like with the nutrition side as well, everything just going from, it's just gradually built up, and I've really appreciated it, really. So
Shaun, what about confidence as well? Because I think that is a massive thing. Like I always say, we help to build strength and we help to build fitness, but actually I think that one of the major things we do is confidence with your body again. Would you say that, what experience would you say about that?
So you're definitely right. So getting confidence with my body again, knowing your limits and knowing if you can do that. So it's just like, well, I can't do that, and then you saying, you can go out there and do that, but not just the physical side. It's been in my day-to-day job being a sports coach. I couldn't think of anything worse than going back and teaching 30 children. Because I feel like I forgot it all, but you like brought that back out of me, and you brought Shaun back. So I just feel like so if you go through this program and you kind of lose yourself a bit, you'll find yourself again, and you go out there in the big wide world. So
wow, I think that's a perfect place to finish. So I think the quote from this is seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I definitely think that's a lovely place to end. So I just want to say that has been incredible and very like putting a lot into perspective. It's been absolutely amazing to hear your guys' story. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And also Helen, for you coming on and sharing your experience and the vital part that you play in people's lives. Like it's not just a program, it's so much more than that. And what we see from you guys today has just been amazing to hear. Yeah, and we hope when I was listening to all of this, I was like, I definitely think you two can host your own show because you're amazing at talking. So maybe that should be something in the pipeline that we should be looking at. Question and answer with Shaun and Sophie.
Definitely.
Yeah, so
Go for it.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to set that up. So unless there's anything else that anyone wants to add to this, I think this is time to sign off. You guys got anything else to add, or are we happy?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot there, so yeah. All good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Shaun and Sophie, thank you so much for actually coming on and speaking so openly and sharing your stories, because yeah, it's not always the easiest thing to do at all. So I think you will have helped so many young people as well watching this, or maybe just, I always say about MOVE, actually, this is the other thing, to try to explain what we do. And I think you'll have helped with this. You know, if you're a bit younger and you're trying to get over a wall and you couldn't quite do it on your own because it's a little bit too high, but then a friend would sort of do that with their hands and just give your foot a little lift up. I tend to say that's what we do with MOVE. Like, we give you that extra little bit so then you can actually then go and get over that wall. So yeah, I think you will have done that today to someone else who you might not even ever meet, but just from talking so well. So thank you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, perfect way to end that, Helen. Thanks, guys. So I'll go off live on Facebook, but in a second. But I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who's watched this as well. And we really appreciate you guys coming on, listening to us. And please just let us know if you've got any questions. Please stay in touch, and we will see you guys next week for our next live question and answer. So we'll say bye to Facebook Live now.
Bye.
See you guys later.